Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
And welcome back, everyone. Got a question for you. How much did you pay in bank fees and credit card fees last year? Waiting for your answer. You probably don't know the answer. I don't know the answer. Something to think about because they're all there. They're in business to make money off of us. We're going to talk about that today. And she's the woman behind 3B Financial. She's our professional of the year. LaTanya Stewart is back with us. How are you doing today?
I am well, Steve. How are you today?
Very well, very well. Yeah, this is kind of mysterious when it comes to the bank fees. When we say bank fees, what are we referring to? Let's go there first.
Most bank fees, you hear about the overdrafts, and that's where a lot of banks are making their money, and they charge you every time.
Mm,
So let's say your balance is below $25. That charge comes through.
sure.
But every time a charge comes through, they're hitting you with those bank fees. And I think it's around like $35 a hit.
Yes.
That can add up quickly.
Yeah. I actually got hit with one recently, and it was because there was an issue with the auto pay. Something was up. And I called, I'll tell you, it was TD Bank, and I called them up and said, "Hey, I've never had any issues. Can we waive that fee?" And in a couple of seconds, so yeah, we can take care of that for you. I'm like, "Oh, thank you very much."
And it's amazing just by making that phone call. They'll usually let you do it, but we have to be willing to pick up the phone and call and ask.
Yeah. And by default or by design, sometimes they'll make it easy to get through. You got to wait there. There's a prompt. I mean, Capital One is another bank I deal with, and whenever I call them and the prompts start, I just sit there and I'm like, representative, representative, representative. Finally, oh, you would like to talk to a representative. What would you like to talk
Yes,
about? Representative. I don't even want to go through the prompts. Just get me to a human and let's,
a
see where we go
human
there.
being.
Yeah, imagine that. Uh, those fees, what else should be we be aware of?
The low balance. And like I said, that's what really gets people to those charges is because they have a low balance. They're not paying attention to how much money is in the bank. But then it's like looking at fee or banks that don't even have accounting fees. And you usually find those with most online banks and credit unions. Your traditional banks, the big ones, Bank of America, Chase, Wells Fargo,
Hmm.
you're charged a limit. You're being charged. But one of the things I did learn recently is if you do direct deposit, they'll waive that monthly fee. Because I think one of my accounts got below balance, transferring money, not paying attention, and they hit me with $15, and it was Chase. But to your point, I called it was like, hey, can we waive this? And they did. But you get those monthly fees and you're not even paying attention. And it's
Hmm.
because of the balance that you have in your account.
Meaning that your balance is below a certain number, and
A
that's
certain
why.
threshold.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of, and I have two businesses. I have two credit cards for business, one personal, technically two. One's just floating out there. I haven't used it in the longest time. Maybe it's three.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I have three. Two I never use. One is the main one. I'm trying to think of and that's the scary part. You might not even know what's going on if you haven't logged into those accounts in a while. I think we
And
need
they
to do
get
that.
you because they you can go paperless. So we sign up for paperless. We have no idea. Many moons ago, everything came via snail mail. You
Yep,
opened up your mail and you looked at it.
sure.
Now, I think everything is paperless, so we don't even bother to look. And yet again, you got to get in that practice. Everybody is 9 times out of 10 carrying that fabulous cell phone in their hands. Download the banking app, click on it, and look because it's all
Yeah.
right there for you. And it's
Yeah.
literally now at our disposal.
I love the environment. I literally hug trees. I'm not even kidding. But if I don't get charged extra to have something mailed to me, I usually opt for it because it's, out of sight, out of mind. Now it's coming to me. It's also a record. I save things, I file them. Yes, I know it might not be environmentally sound, but then on the flip side, there are some, it could be your cell phone bill. If you opt for paperless, save an extra, 5% or whatever it is.
Yeah. Or the automatic payment, I think for my cell phone is like I save $10 a month.
You have T-Mobile, right?
Yes.
Same here.
From Sprint to T-Mobile. But yeah, so it's like, okay, fine. But I've been with them forever. Like I said, I started off as a Sprint customer.
Same.
They grandfathered, my plan over. So it made sense. But if
Mm.
the bill goes up like $15, I'm like, wait a minute, what happened? So I'm looking because I know what that monthly charge should be. And when it slightly goes up, I'm looking, it's like, okay, what's going on? What did you guys do to keep that cost down?
I have to tell you, LaTanya, out of all the bills that I have, the one I watch closest is the cell phone bill. I don't trust them. I just don't. It's all the time. It could be going up, going down. Like, what are we doing here? What's going on? Because there's so many hoops to jump through. Oh, we can't do that on your plan. We can do this. Blah blah blah. Blah. I'm going to share this with you, um, because it kind of surprised me, and it's very
Okay.
recent. My son went away to college. His internet wasn't great. He's going for computer programming, so it's important. And I decided as a gift I was going to surprise him and give him their home internet unit, where they send you the it's like a cell phone, but that's where you get your cell service from. So I call up. I'm like, how much is it? Typically it's $50. Okay, we have a promotion. It's $40. Oh, really? All right. Cool. I don't have his address. He just started college. I'll have to get back to you on that. 2 days later, I call and I get him on the phone, and they say to me, okay, sure. What price were you quoted? I'm like, $35. They're like, oh, all right, great. Let me set that up for you.
Wow.
Like,
Yeah.
I should have said 30. So they're just throwing numbers out at you, and the representative in another country really doesn't care because they're making commission, and that commission is a lot for them. And so I just share with you the price you might think is fixed apparently isn't really fixed.
I learned that with my cable bill. You get this 2-year plan every year. Bill spikes up, I call.
Yep.
Like, okay, hey, my bill is over $200. Why? Miraculously, they can get it back down to like 150, 125.
Imagine that. How
And
do
I'm
they do
like,
that?
but you said you had no programs, but it's like, oh, wait, well, you've been a customer for X amount of years. Let me see what I can do. Put you on hold. They come back and magically give you what you want.
Hmm. Latanya's wearing an orange sweater today. We're going to take it down $50 a month. Hey, whatever excuse they can come up with.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's amazing what they can do for you, but you have to be willing, yet again, pick up the phone, customer representative, or keep hitting zero until you finally get a human being on the other end
Yeah.
of the line.
And with the cable companies, it's been my experience that you got to jump through the hoops. The retention department, when you tell them, "Yeah, I'm thinking about canceling. This is just not working for me," and all of that. But it's worth it. I mean, if you look at how much you're saving, added up in a year. It's worth every second. Bank fees. What else is going on there that we should be aware of?
Bank fees, students, because you spoke about your son. For those students that are in work studies through their college educations, sign up for bank accounts. And it's a good place to have youth learn about managing money. You've probably taken care of everything. Son's been great. Now he's off to college. Even if you're sending him an allowance every month, instead of doing these prepaid cater cards, let's open up a bank account for him. It
Hmm,
begins to create the financial footprint. And then it's teaching him management money, or how to manage his money, I should say.
sure.
Because if you're giving him cash, cash in, cash out, hey, dad, I need some money. But when they have to look at what's in the bank and it's like, hey, I'm going to send you money on the first of the month, it allows the student to kind of pay attention. They can look at their spending now. Most banks, it'll tell you the category that you're spending your money in. Most youth is primarily food. And even as parents, we can see what our children are doing. It's like, you've been asking for a lot of money lately. Why? What's going on?
A lot of fast food there. Hmm.
lot of fact, they're like, I don't like the college food. I
Uh,
get it, but come on.
yeah, but come on, I'm paying for the meal plan.
But
Splurge
you're still
occasionally.
eating out.
Yeah. And I even told him that. I said, splurge a little bit, because when I was there and checking out the area, it's a 2-minute walk to the main road, and there's a bunch of, different things, pizza. But he actually said the food on campus is really good. So he's happy with that. But occasionally, you got to treat yourself. Uh, but to your point, I still have my bank books when I was in my 20s, like literally the savings
Wow.
account. Um, and occasionally when I'm cleaning, first of the year, throwing away files and stuff, I go into that folder and I take them out and I look at them. And I'm like, look at that. I mean, that's what you were making back then. And how did you even, it's
How did
amazing.
you survive?
Yeah, you survived. Exactly.
Right.
And then, you see the, what you took out occasionally here, and so it's interesting, and I guess it's there's a quiet feeling of pride knowing that you had to financially take care of things back then. Um, so I do would be the same thing. If you say
Absolutely.
some of the statements from when you were younger. Um, any your fees? Well, we're talking about fees here today. We've talked about subscriptions before, getting a hold on that and dumping some of the ones that don't support you, serve you, the ones you aren't using. Um, what are some of the other fees that we should be aware of? Whether it's credit card fees, whether it's bank fees, any other things that stand out that we might be missing?
ATMs. And
Uh,
it takes me back to the youth. They see an ATM, they automatically take money out. Make sure it's within your branch because you're being charged for that because it's an out of network ATM.
yep.
You're getting charged there and they're out with their friends. It's like, hey, I need $20, $50, whatever. They'll stop at the nearest ATM, not realizing that they're going to pay a convenience fee just to get that money because it's right there in front of them.
Yeah. It's a catch 22 in that we should be using cash instead of credit, but then you pay that fee. I have to honestly tell you, and I don't know if it's a good thing or not, but I haven't touched an ATM 20 years, 15. Haven't even pressed a button on one. I'm not even exaggerating.
So you're that one that goes inside the bank every time.
Um, I use credit, and then
Okay.
occasionally when I'm at the bank, if I remember, I'll take out some cash and I just put it aside. Not a lot, just enough. If you go somewhere and or if you buy a cup of coffee and I don't want to use a credit card, because every transaction, obviously, you're paying, a fee on that, but every transaction is one more that you got to keep track of. It's like, when
Yes.
did I go to the convenience store to buy coffee? And I'm like, oh, that's right. Right away, my radar's up. All right, who is this? What'd you buy? Or you look on your statement, gas stations never say gas station. It's some
No.
company name like Surefire Lux. The heck is that? Some
Yes.
fraud going on here. It's about $50. So oh, gas. That was that dag. But so I don't go to the ATMs, but I try to keep cash, balance the cash between with the credit card. The fees are, when you start adding them up, what you're paying every month, whoa.
They add up. And one thing is like when you do those gas stations, Starbucks, get the receipt. And most people don't. To your point, I'm a tree hugger. I get it. Get that paper because when you get ready to reconcile, like you were saying, it's like, where did that money go? Where was I at? One of the things I told a client, older gentleman, we got him an envelope that he kept in the car. And like every time you go out, keep the receipt, just drop it in the envelope.
Right.
At the end of the month, we can reconcile your bank statements
Hmm.
because he owned property. And we were trying to separate personal from business. Keeping those receipts made a world of difference
Wow.
because we knew what those transactions were for. We can say, oh, yes, I bought nails for the property down the street. Great. Or it's like, I took clients out for a dinner. Whatever it was, having that paper made the world of difference.
And isn't it true that if you get audited, they want to see receipts? You can't hand them
Oh,
your credit
yes.
card statement.
IRS wants to see receipts
Wow.
Because over the years, people have done, as I like to call, creative accounting. Found these creative ways to cut back and save money. You got to have the receipts.
Yeah.
I remember years ago, people played the game, married couples. This year we'll get a return. This year we don't. So they decided if we're married or if we're going to file separately. IRS got wind. So I tell clients, be careful before you attach your pony to that wagon. Because once you legally change your name, you guys are bonded together. We can't pick and choose if we're going to file jointly or married. We're together. You got to list both files, both social security numbers on that tax return.
Mm.
IRS is like, you're not getting away with extra money this year because you found that loophole to get a couple of dollars back on your tax return.
Yeah, and it's also you can be filing separately, but it's married separately.
It's married separate. I learned of some people, older couple going through some things. The husband filed, married jointly. She filed a single tax return from 2 years ago. They're still fighting with the IRS today.
Wow.
Because now you got these two tax returns sitting out here. Can't have both on the same social.
Tell me
But there's
about what's going on with the IRS when an audit takes place, or and let's say you were in the wrong, you missed something, and now there's a payment plan. Are they fair and fairly easy to work with?
you have to have patience and willing to sit on the phone on hold. And usually what happens is people get the notices, they ignore them, and they get the garnishments at work. Now it's a major issue. And I've seen garnishments in the workplace that have gone back 3, 4, 5 years. And now that, as I like to say, the world is open, the IRS are really digging into those back tax returns, doing audits, looking, and they're collecting now. So if you're going back 5 years, not only are you paying the debt, there's penalties and interest that are accruing daily. So it's worth, and I tell people, file your tax returns on time. If you owe the IRS, set up a payment plan. Because trust me, they're going to come after you one way or the other. And that's the federal and the state.
You know what's really scary about what you just said, and I don't know why I never thought of it. That's why we're talking today. Um, you could be audited for something years ago, and in the meantime, you're going to be paying a penalty on it, and you weren't even aware of it.
Yeah. A friend of mine got a notice for unemployment. He's never filed for unemployment, and it's $17,000 from 3 years ago. He was like, I don't remember filing for unemployment.
What?
Uh-huh. Got a note, got a letter from his employer. They're getting ready to garnish his check for unemployment. It was $17,000. He's
Because
never, because they said he was overpaid. Crazy part is he never filed for unemployment. So to me, that's fraud. I'm like, immediately, I said, call them. Like, you might be sitting on hold, call them. If you're at work, put the phone on speaker. Because I'm like, they're about to garnish your check and they can do up to 25% of your disposable earnings for something you didn't even do.
so had this conversation with somebody, a similar one the other day, because she's about to file for unemployment. She took a leave of absence. She had a heart situation, and then her parents got sick, and she was on disability. But I think it ran for 3 months, and after that, she just found out that they terminated her. And in a way, she's okay with it. She didn't love the job. She was there like barely a year. It just wasn't right for her. So she's got to file and figure that all out. When did they terminate her? Because they ask you, when did you find out? It's like, but I had a small separate job that I got right before COVID.
Okay.
Then because of COVID, left that job. So I was released. It was a small side job.
Okay.
Um, I tried to file for unemployment. There was no, and there was an issue, days on the phone. If you added it up, days on the phone during COVID, which was, crazy, crazy time. I never got unemployment. I couldn't even get to them. Couldn't even, and now as I understand it, years later, there is I guess a expiration date where you can claim benefits and it's a done deal.
Well, see now, and they do it online. You have to submit your claim online.
Yeah.
Several years ago, I did it, and I remember just hours of sitting. They verified me through ID.com, and I literally, kind of like you and I had to give my passport and kind of show it to them, like, this is me, for them to verify I'm who I said I was. It was
Wow.
incredible. And I'm like, all this for a couple of dollars. And I didn't even use it for that long. And I was like,
Wow.
why did I even go through this process? But the thing is, when you work for somebody, you feel I paid into this service. I should be able to get it back when I need
Yeah.
it. But they make it difficult almost to kind of get your own money back, if you will.
Yeah, exactly. And I get there was a lot of claims and everything during COVID, but at the same time, then automate it to a point where it's accurate and you can get some resolution because I was approved, but when I tried to claim benefits, there was an issue. A flag came up. I don't know what it was. Um, so I guess lost money. Fortunately, it wasn't a lot, but very frustrating. And then that I can't do anything now. I was actually thinking of hiring somebody just to be on the phone because I don't have time. Not even kidding.
It makes me think about, and you and I have talked about this, the credit report. Get a copy of your credit report.
Yeah.
COVID, I mean, people were making false claims, people's mail was being stolen, mail wasn't being delivered, all these
Yeah.
various things. Get your credit report. Like maybe 15 years ago, purchased my home. I was in an apartment. My W 2 went to my old address.
Mm.
Now, I had got my W 2, filed my taxes. I owed the IRS that year, wrote the check. We were good. They sent me a letter telling me that they had two tax returns. I said, that's not possible. I said, I owed you. I waited until April 15th to send it and write the check. Somebody had actually filed a fraudulent claim with my W 2 and got back $7,000.
Wow.
So now
But
every year there's a fraud alert. I get a pin that has to be put on my tax return. So yeah.
that's what that is. I've seen that before. If you want to enter a PIN, I never knew what the purpose of that was.
Well, there's two pin. Mine is for identity. The other one is a pin when you file it, just so you can check your tax return.
Gotcha. Wow. Well, the things you learn. And by the way, here's a post-it note from the last time we got together, and the last entry up there says freecreditreport.com, and it's sitting here. It's on my list of things to do. And
Yes,
why wouldn't you? It's free. It's not going to impact your credit. Yeah, I think it is. Part of it, we're afraid to find out.
exactly. We put our head in the sand. We close our eyes. We
Yes,
don't want to know.
right. Yeah,
Information is knowledge. You gotta know. Because if not, you're getting these things, and it's like, wait, that wasn't me. Like interesting because my name is LaTanya. I've had many variations of how people spell my first name.
hmm
And it showed up on my credit report. I remember when I bought my home, I had to do an affidavit to cross out all these misspellings of my name. Just like, yes, this one is me. But many years ago, Social Security was cap sensitive. So it's actually LA capital T and there's no space. Well, somewhere along the line, somebody doing data entry put a space in between my name. So some people think my first name is LA. Like, that's not my name. But even something that simple, it shows up on my credit report.
Whoa. Wow.
Yeah.
Uh, know what you're talking about? My legal name is not Steve, and my legal name, my ex has the same exact name.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's fun. Because when they list it, as former residences and it's the same address, and then, you only
Yep.
differentiate, it's, male, female. Usually that's not, especially nowadays, that's not there. So it's only, goes by the social. Uh, Great tips today. Learned a lot. There's money in them hills if you go after it, be it the
Absolutely.
fees and everything else. How do we find you, Latanya? And that's Latanya, no space in your name. Uh, How do we
Correct.
find you?
The best way is info@3bfinancial.co, or you can go straight to my website, www.3bfinancial.co.com. And there's actually an information page that people can input their information. It'll come straight to me and we can connect.
Beautiful. Wonderful talking with you. Thanks for all the tips and the advice. We have things to take care of here from this point forward. Get that done. Save some money. What it's all about.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.